Well, US President Donald Trump has announced an initial investment of $25 billion for a missile defence shield system he says will protect the United States against exterior threats. Inspired by Israel's Iron Dome, the ambitious Golden Dome project will include a massive network of satellites to detect, track and potentially intercept incoming missiles. Trump said it would be fully operational by the end of his term. He also said it is expected the total investment to reach $175 billion. The plan still has to be approved by Congress. Let's have a listen into what he had to say at the Oval Office while presenting the program.
In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So, as usual, we help Canada.
Well, to shed more light on this, I'm joined now by security and foreign policy expert Michael O'Hanlon with the US think tank, the Brookings Institution. Good to see you, Michael. I want to start by asking, does the US really need a bigger, better missile shield?
You know, the answer is probably yes. Donald Trump says a lot of things that are half crazy, but the overall argument here is worth taking seriously because, as you probably know, we already have a bit of a national missile defense. It's based primarily in Alaska and California, designed primarily against a North Korean ICBM threat, and now roughly 15 years old. And we're trying to upgrade that, but it's not particularly capable against Iran if they ever develop a nuclear-capable missile. It's not capable against launches from the East in general. And if you're worried about an accidental launch or a coercive threat with somebody saying we'll launch one or two missiles at you if you don't do X, Y, or Z, this kind of a system has a certain logic. What does not have a logic is believing you could actually provide an airtight coverage of the whole country against any and all missile attacks, including all-out attacks from Russia or China. And if President Trump chases that dream, it may be a little more technologically plausible than under Ronald Reagan's Star Wars vision, but it's going to be in excess of trillions of dollars in ultimate expense and still probably not be anywhere near a perfect protection. So it depends what threat you're protecting against. But yes, some kind of a new concept beyond the Alaska-California system we have now may be worth a second look.
We're familiar with the Iron Dome, as Israel has. What makes it different to the Golden Dome that's presented here?
Well, as you well know, our country is far bigger. And moreover, the kind of missiles we're talking about trying to protect against could have nuclear weapons on them. So a 95% success rate for the Iron Dome in Israel may not be good enough for a Golden Dome in the United States if what you're envisioning is all-out Russian or Chinese nuclear attack. So that's the basic difference, the size of the country that has to be protected and the nature of the warhead.
You mentioned
you can get into an offense arms race very easily if you're not careful on this.
Yeah, you mentioned Golden Dome's predecessor from the 80s in the Reagan administration, what became known as Star Wars, I seem to remember. It fell short because of technological overreach and sky-high costs. Has this idea's time come?
It's much more plausible to do this against a limited threat if you believe the country you're dealing with does not have the capacity to just get into an offense-defense arms race. The problem with nuclear weapons is that you've got to be 99.9% sure you could stop them before you have any real sense that you've got the country secure and safe, which means the offense has the inherent advantage. And that's still true even with today's technologies. So if you're thinking about a North Korea or an Iran or a Vladimir Putin who wants to threaten one nuclear weapon attack for a demonstration, then yes, today's technologies are much more capable than Ronald Reagan's. And we could do some interesting things. But if what you're talking about is denying the Russians or Chinese the ability to threaten the country comprehensively, that's still going to be, in all likelihood, a pipe dream.
Before we go, Russia and China called the US missile shield plan deeply destabilising. Could it trigger an arms race?
Well, China's already engaged in a pretty nice arms race of its own. It's building several hundred long-range weapons a year. And so I don't think we're the ones that started it. We brought down our arsenals by 90% since the Cold War. And of course, Vladimir Putin's the one who's returned the world to great power, not just rivalry, but conflict with his attack on Ukraine and his nuclear threats against NATO from time to time. So, I'm not a big fan of this concept in all incarnations, but I'm not that interested in Beijing and Moscow's critique.
Michael O'Hanlon, great to get your insight. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kylie.